Kristen, thanks. Tea Party-supported Congressman Allen West attacked Democratic Congress members this week, calling them plantation bosses, basically saying they're presiding over African Americans in order to get them to vote Democrat. But when those same Democrats began visiting cities ravaged by minority unemployment, West reportedly was more than happy to steer his own brother to their job fair.
He has a brother that's out of work. Well, his brother came up to me, introduced himself, and told me that he had lost his job. He had been laid off. And I asked him if he had called his brother, and he said he had. And I said, and what did he say? He said he told me to come to the job fair. He told me to come and see you. And so we're hopeful that we can help his brother.
The congressman's brother, Allen West, just one of thousands of men and women who attended Thursday's CBC Jobs Fair, desperate for a chance to get a face-to-face with employers looking to hire. And MSNBC caught up with Congressman West's brother for an exclusive interview to get his take on who really is helping Black America get back to work.
The responsibility of our elected officials is to serve their constituents in any capacity that they can. And this was a prime example of them doing that. Congressman Maxine Waters and other members of the Congressional Black Caucus saw that need, and they sponsored this event.
The congressman responded clearly, with my own brother out of work, the struggling economy is very personal to me. I'm encouraged by any job conference which helps individuals find a job. However, the underlying problem remains. The economic policies of President Obama have not set the conditions for job growth, especially in the Black community. Karen Finney is a Democratic strategist and an MSNBC political analyst, and Doug Heye is a Republican strategist and joins me in the studio today. We'll show you right now. Hi, Doug. Good to see you.
Or not.
Right. No, here he is. Here
Either
he is.
way.
Okay. It's just a little better late than never. Doug, let me begin with you. It undercuts somewhat, doesn't it, Congressman West's message when his own brother has to resort to a jobs fair sponsored by Democratic congresspeople?
Well, I think it's a good thing, A, that the Congressional Black Caucus is having these job fairs. The Congressional Black Caucus is a very powerful organization within Congress. And for the congressman's brother to be there face-to-face, I think works. And hopefully will provide, more of an example of how these things can work and where can work to really improve communities. But I look, what the real takeaway from me from all of this is, and it pains me, Karen will know, it pains me physically to say this, Maxine Waters is right about a lot of what she said in the past couple of days. She has said that Barack Obama has not done enough for jobs in the African American community. She said these green jobs have never materialized. I hate to agree with her.
What can he do without the cooperation of Congress, though, Doug? If recalcitrant Republicans refuse to compromise, what possibly can the president do?
Well, I don't think it is recalcitrant Republicans.
What can the president do without Congress?
The Democratic Senate rejected the president's budget unanimously, and they still haven't passed a budget on their own. We need these things so the government can move forward to try and create some of the job growth that we want to do.
I'm sorry, Doug, but that is just that's ridiculous. I mean, what I think the CBC showed this week, if anything, is that, there is a way to sort of cut through everything, and what they did was they used their, relationships and the power and influence that they have to actually connect people with jobs. What's unfortunate is that when they're all here together in the building behind me, there really hasn't, in the Republican-led House of Representatives. I mean, where's the jobs? 2010, we heard it was about jobs. We haven't seen a jobs bill put on the table. And I think that's what, frankly, Americans are so frustrated about with both sides.
Okay.
That, to some degree, I mean, here you've got this massive unemployment, and people are feeling like, why are we talking about the debt ceiling when I need a job?
So, guys, I wanted to ask you about another headline here today. Rick Perry was out on the campaign trail, and he was making headlines because he was pushing creationism and doubting publicly evolution and climate change. And so then we see John Huntsman taking a shot at Rick Perry on Twitter. He wrote, "To be clear, I believe in evolution and trust scientists on global warming. Call me crazy." Wow, has this made a splash, Doug?
Yeah, I was amazed. It really led Mike Allen's Politico playbook today, where I thought, wow, people are really seeing this. What's really unusual about it is we often see staff take shots at each other. Karen did that when she was at the DNC. I did that when I was at the RNC. For a candidate to do that and attach his name to it directly really is a change. Shows how communications have changed.
Yeah, and Twitter, too. That's the way to get your message out now. Doug, you were pointing out now he's just taking on Christine O'Donnell today. Karen, is this the wave of the future? Are we going to see more politicians using social media to make a real impact?
Well, sure, and look, I mean, in this instance, this is a pretty classic tactic. If you're the guy who's behind, you know, if you can attack or find a way in to get some attention using one of the folks who are leading the pack, you got to go for it. I mean, that was, you know, a brilliant stroke, and, I mean, there was also some message attached to it, so it was actually pretty smart on a couple of fronts. It would be remiss if I didn't say one thing about Allen West, because we didn't talk too much about some of the other comments, the sort of overlord comments that he made about the CBC. And I have to tell you, as an African American, I found that incredibly offensive. He also compared himself to Harriet Tubman, which I think is also offensive. And I would really hope that Allen West would, you know, really cut that stuff out and focus more on what he can do as a member of Congress to either create jobs or move the country forward, rather than kowtowing to the Tea Party base.
Karen, you get the last word on that one. Thank you very much. Doug, thank you.
That's not fair at all.
But I'm up against the clock here.
Okay.
Big question today. What kind of world do we live in, really, when supporting science and saying